Hi folks, and happy Homebrew Wednesday. Now, you're probably wondering, where have I been? It's been very, very busy the last few months. I haven't been doing anything particularly homebrew related. Haven't really had much time to pick up anything new. Haven't really had much time to really do much more than look over some recipes. Picked up some very nice books. I've been doing a lot of reading, as you can tell. I'm a reader. So that's been taking up rather a lot of my time, and I haven't really had enough time to be getting on with the old home brewing, which is a shame, because it's what I've wanted to do. I'd love to say that this is one of mine. It's not, as you can probably tell by the deep, rich colour, and the wonderful head, and the lacing that's going on, that this is a bottled beer. It is. This is a pint of the Abbot, good old Abbot, from down south. Wonderful stuff. Very happy to try it out. I mentioned in a play I went to see during the festival, which is one of the reasons I've been busy. I covered the Edinburgh Fringe. I saw a fantastic show, actually. It was called The Ghost Hunter, and it was all about a ghost tour guide in York. And throughout the whole play, the chap playing the Ghost Hunter sits drinking a pint of Abbot and mentions it several times that he's drinking Abbot, which is evidently a good advert for the beer, and I really hope that they sponsored the play, because they got a huge amount of free advertising out of it, because it managed to make me buy some. And it's damn good. Which is, if nothing else, spurred on my want to make my own beer. So that is coming up. Believe you me, that is coming up. Obviously, in the meantime, you remember my Mead videos that I made? Well, I've got a bit of a treat for you. I finally bottled the Mead. This is the Melomel, the one that I brewed at the beginning of the year. It's the January batch. It was racked just before the end of February, which means it's had approximately 6 months to sit in the demijohn. Now it's about time to move it into the bottles. All of these currently. I've made a point of having enough bottles to cover it, probably too many bottles. But that's fine, because the last thing I want to end up doing is trying to stop the flow part of the way through. So I've got myself about 13 bottles there, as well as these two larger, what were originally blueberry port bottles. Very, very tasty. These are corked. These are all crown capped. The caps and the corks are currently sitting in the sterilizer. These bottles are all, as you may notice, currently full of sterilizing solution. It's a non-rinse solution, so I can literally just tip it straight back in the sink when I'm done. If anything else needs to be sterilized, that can be done afterwards. At the moment I have my crown capper. It's one of these ones, the two-handled job, which should be interesting. That's being sterilised as well, because you can't be too careful, as is a plate to rest things on, and my siphon. So yeah, we're pretty much ready to go. First thing I'm going to do is pop up the Mead onto a higher level, bring through a little table, and then we'll just get to it. Now we're just ready to begin. We're more or less ready to begin. I've placed down here the bottle caps, corks, my siphoning unit. Don't worry about the surface. The surface has been bleached to within an inch of its life before I began, so there's no worry about that being in any way unhygienic. Doesn't matter. The sterilised unit's going on top of a severely sterilised counter. In fact, the dirtiest thing here is probably going to be the bottle of Melomel, because that's been sitting on top of my cupboard. So there's definitely going to be a little bit of care made here to make sure that none of the dirt from the outside that gets anywhere near anything else. As you can see, I've spaced the bottles out a bit. That's to try and make it a little bit clearer to me while I'm actually siphoning, to make sure I don't overflow. It makes it a little bit more difficult transferring from bottle to bottle, but if I lose a little bit, it's not the end of the world. These ones shouldn't be a problem, so I can just move them. And now the moment of truth. Open this up. Just pop the airlock off. Side. There we go. Right. coming out fast. Oh, I can stop the flow. I can stop the flow by squeezing the bottle. Give me a moment or two. Leeway. Because I'm not going to have much. There we go. Oh, very slight bit of spillage. Nothing to worry about. I'm not going to need anything like as many bottles as I thought. You know what, I might leave it at that. Here's the easy bit. 1, 2. Okay, well, this is us moving on to the next step. We're going to put the caps on. As I said, I've already placed the corks in the top of the bottle. Now for the rest of them, I'm going to use my crown capper, which is finished sitting in a sterilising solution. And what we do with this is we take one crown cap, pop it onto the magnetised top, put it together over the top of the bottle, and clink, and that bends around the top of the bottle, sealing it. So, theoretically this should all go perfectly well. I'll also point out this is the first time I've actually done this. I've also, as you might notice, labelled all the bottles. It's generally a good idea to do this at this point, because if not, then you forget it. You lay these down, and you come back a year later and you have no idea A, what's in the bottle, and B, when it was put down, and you'll have forgotten the dates and times. Unless, of course, you've uploaded a video to YouTube. Right, so, number 1, which should go, theoretically, painlessly. He says, and he was wrong. I'm obviously doing and there you have it. Third time. Right. Obviously, I put a little weight on. I'm just a little bit scared of breaking the bottles. Obviously, that's my mistake. I'm still not going to be too over the top with this, but a little weight down. Oh, it's almost on. There we go. Ah, I've got it. As with all things, there's a knack. See, the good thing is, I do the difficult stuff, so you don't have to. Ah! That's not wrong. I figured it out, chaps. First off, and chapettes, of course, because I do have some female followers, would you believe. Pop it on, line her up, put the two parts together, and then engage the handles. And she goes on like a dream. Well, there's where you went wrong. And seeing as I've got all these bottles, and I've got all these caps, I could actually do the other Mead. Which, as you can see, picked up more of the sediment from the bottom. Now, I'll probably only try a little of this, because otherwise I'm going to end up fairly hooved. It's not as strong as I would have liked, but it still tastes good. It certainly tastes alcoholic. You can drink it, it would be especially good chilled. Now, of course, the problem with this lot is I'd made the 2 batches originally, so there was only 2 jars of honey in this lot, which is effectively only 2/3 of the amount you should probably use for this amount. So it's understandable that it's 1/3 less potent than it should be. But that's it. It's 6 months. 6 months. Which means presumably leave it a little bit longer. And that could go very, very nicely. Cheers. Well, the last one went so well, I've decided to just go ahead and bottle the Mead proper, the easy peasy Mead. This one, as you can see, was the one which I brewed on the 10th of March, and I racked it on the 26th of May. So obviously, this isn't quite as ready as the Melomel, but this is a stronger brew. This was made using champagne yeast, and this is the one that, to be honest, should taste far better. Obviously, I cleaned the siphon between them and has been re-sterilised. The joy of having a sink entirely full of sterilised water obviously helps in the process of this. But yeah, anyway, let's let her rip, as they say. There we go. Now, again, I imagine you want to see what I think of this. So let's try it. Always the fresh glass, whenever possible. So, take a look. Obviously, we had far less sediment in this one, partly because it was a far better yield. Secondly, because I didn't get as much of the sediment at the bottom. Now this has a much richer smell. The aroma's almost thicker, heartier. Now that really tastes like mead should taste. It's got that honeyish-ness, it's got that wine taste to it. That's beautiful. And what's even better is that's going to age fantastically. They say with mead, and I'm sure I've said this before, it's best left for at least a year before you actually drink it. This obviously has only been 6 months since brewing. It's been only 4 months since I racked it into the secondary container. Now I think I racked it late, so it will have had longer than that to sit, but ideally I probably don't want to be drinking this until Christmas, if not well into next year. So which means I should probably make another mead at some stage. So, there you go. We have bottled our mead. I'm now just going to add my labels to it, put it in the rack with the rest, and leave it to age. I have a wonderful crop of brambles coming up in the back garden. What I originally thought was a raspberry bush has turned out to be a large bramble bush, with big, thick, juicy brambles on it, and they taste absolutely wonderful. There's only a few of them come out now, but the bush is laden with fruit. So I'm either going to make another mead, but a mead made with a large amount of bramble in, or possibly I'll try and do some kind of wine. I don't think I'm going to have enough to make a bramble wine. It's possible. We'll see what the crop yields. But on the whole, I think it's more likely I'll be able to make a combination wine of 2 or 3 different things, or a mead or a melomel with a lot more fruit in it. But we'll see. We'll get onto that. In the meantime, charge your glasses and I hope you have a lovely Homebrew Wednesday. Go and check out the other channels. There's lots of great work going on here. I'll put a few links down at the bottom of a couple of my favourites. Take care. Happy Homebrew Wednesday.